Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. CIG have released their latest Squadron 42 monthly report for Star Citizen's single-player campaign. This pretty much is the only regular source of Squadron 42 development updates that we're getting at the moment anyway. We're going to be taking a look at what they've been working on over the last few weeks with that and what they are focused on now in June. Before we jump into the summary of that monthly report though, I thought I'd give you some general information and Squadron 42 updates. Squadron 42 Episode 1 is basically what we're talking about here and is its own AAA game. It's in its polishing phase. It's feature complete but not 100% content complete. There is still no release date for Squadron 42, though the expectation is that at October's CitizenCon that a release date will be announced. CIG are planning a Episode 2 and Episode 3, which effectively are going to be their own AAA games. It's not the cutting up of the game into 3 parts, rather 2 additional related games. We don't 100% know what the plan is for them yet, but CIG said that it would probably release Episode 2 around 2 years after Episode 1, and the expectation is that they'll sort of start working on Episode 2 pretty quickly after they've released Episode 1. Squadron 42 is not currently purchasable though. It was removed from the RSI store around May 2023, but CIG said it would return later with an expected price change. Again, I'd expect it to be on sale again, starting at CitizenCon in October. With that out of the way, let's take a look at the development updates. The AI content team developed a new background manager to handle all non-scene scripted sequences. This update has streamlined the main mission manager, stabilizing its core flow operations and significantly reducing bugs. For the opening level, they completed some R&D for a new look at technology. This enhancement significantly improves visuals when NPCs look at the player, featuring profiles that allow them to glance weakly or stare strongly based on the situation, adding a layer of realism and depth to character interactions. They also made adjustments to the pathing of scripted walkers in the Stanton, which is the Idris that you're on, to avoid critical scenes and improve visual consistency. In addition, they suppressed greeting dialogue for NPCs shortly after workouts, as the previous content didn't sound appropriately out of breath, ensuring a more realistic experience. The chow line was improved by decreasing idle times between interactions, making the AI feel more responsive and realistic. To further enhance dynamic conversations, facial animations were added for additional voice packs. Janitor cleaning spots were also adjusted to avoid high traffic areas, which helped reduce bugs. Furthermore, cleaning spot regeneration now occurs only when the players are not nearby, enhancing both performance and realism. For flight, the tech design team integrated the new AI flight behaviors from the Persistent universe to Squadron 42, so this is another example of actually Squadron 42 getting some updates that are being refined in the Persistent universe, and began improving various combat encounters. They also fixed bugs and made improvements to interactables across multiple chapters. For example, in Chapter 1, the terminal screen interactions were polished, new UI art was implemented, and the new interaction flow was streamlined. Gameplay animation further developed various player interaction moments, such as interacting with levers, vehicles, clothing, etc. They also worked to improve the feel of zero-G movement and created additional first select animations, which are used when the player gets a new weapon. Combat AI polishing continued with a focus on refining the motion capture flow. The team also discussed how entity movement employs enemy logic and how it can be improved. The social team continued to work through multiple chapters, focusing on placement and the creation of life animations to give the feel of a living, breathing ship. The motion capture team supported both gameplay and story elements and completed a shoot for a new enemy class. They also discussed how to leverage the mocap team's experience in solving and retargeting to improve burn down in other places. Vandal facial animations progressed too, as well as animations for various tier 2 story characters and the player character. Gameplay story continued polishing characters in Chapter 1 following feedback, including fist bumping, looking at the player, fiddling with turret buttons, and walking off with their helmets. A tour in Chapter 4 also saw improvements. For example, player choice was added to the beginning along with new idle and abandon animations. A key meet scene was overhauled with updated mocap to make it more robust, while idles and exit animations were improved for another scene. New audio was added to scenes in Chapter 4A and 5. A scene in Chapter 4D was also updated to account for a new console position, and the console animation was repaired in Chapter 14. Several new scenes were created too, including a hiding survivor, a conversation in the mess hall, a moving forklift truck, a medic healing the player, and a deck crew inspecting a Gladius. Social design. They continued to work on their focus chapters alongside addressing review feedback and fixing bugs. Part of this involved implementing fail states, objective markers, emails, ship chat, checkpoints, Galactopedia entries, and more. This was also an opportunity to clean up loose ends with various scenes. For example, new mocap was introduced to improve several scenes where the narrative content played out well, but didn't close out cleanly. The narrative team continued to drill down on their remaining tasks for Squadron 42. On the production side, they continued reviewing tasks to make sure they represent a comprehensive list, but also to see if there are any that could be tackled without waiting on other teams. They continue to sit in on playthroughs of levels with other teams as well as their own to provide feedback on the narrative experience. Narrative also continued writing Galactopedia entries and worked with the core gameplay team to define where they will appear in levels. Narrative also worked with several outsourced freelancers to develop collectibles that will be scattered throughout the levels for players to find. They said it's been exciting to see the work come in, and we're looking forward to seeing the players react to them. Following up on last month's report, a new testbed was developed in collaboration with the gameplay and audio teams to test the dogfighting combat experience and make sure the wild lines for the various pilots trigger correctly. When complete, this will provide an in situ environment to ensure the technical setup is working, but also that the personalities of the various gangs come through in the way they talk as well as fight. R&D for volumetric cloud rendering, stochastic Catmull ROM texture filtering was implemented for the new half-res render mode's upsampler. I'm not entirely sure what stochastic Catmull ROM texture filtering is, but it certainly has been receiving some updates. The number of ray marching steps now also scales with scene depth to improve performance in scenes with near-distance occluders, buildings, cockpits, terrain, etc. Moreover, progress continued on the temporal render mode. All confidence metrics and transmittance filtering received further tweaks and improvements. Now, most of the time, I know exactly what CIG are talking about with a lot of this stuff, or it's things that I'll just quickly Google or whatever if I sort of have a half understanding. But the couple of things there, the transmittance filtering and Catmull ROM texturing, filtering that was going on, please tell me in the comments section what's going on with that. If you know exactly what that is, I understand that it's going to be a way of improving the visuals or the temporal renderer stuff, or the sort of the rendering of clouds to make them look better, that sort of stuff, and stuff using sort of like upscaling, but my brain is still melted by it. A first draft of the code was submitted for internal use, apparently, for that stuff. VFX continued to support a variety of other teams. Several cinematic scenes are reaching edit lock, which means the camera positions are mostly finalized, enabling the VFX artists to dial in their effects to match each shot. And that is pretty much it. Boom! That's it for your Squadron 42 updates today. Yeah, so a couple of things that I got a bit confused about in the report. It's more from just the R&D section of things I haven't really heard talked about before in gaming. And often CIG don't talk in super technical ways with the recent reports. Sometimes they do, but often they'll just go, well, this is what this does, and they'll explain it a bit better. We are coming towards the end of Squadron 42's development cycle, though. It is in its polishing phase. It is really buffing out a load of those things that it needs to finish. However, obviously, they haven't fully finished the sort of master modes, flight combat, and all that sort of stuff, which they need to refine before releasing Squadron 42. But yeah, I do think this is the year for Squadron 42. I do think we're going to see a release date announced at CitizenCon, and I do think that it's not going to be too long a wait after CitizenCon before Squadron 42 Episode 1 is in our hands. But I want to know what you think. Do you think, yeah, Squadron 42 at CitizenCon, when do you think it's actually going to be released? How much do you think it's going to be when they actually put it back on sale? Do you think it's going to be like a $60, $70 game or something like that? Do you think it will, as standard, come with a really basic ship and like a game package for Star Citizen as well? Or do you think that will be an add-on, basically flipping the buy Star Citizen and get Squadron 42 that we sort of used to have? When do you think CIG are going to start advertising Squadron 42 Episode 1? Do you think it's going to be actually they start everything, this big advertising campaign at CitizenCon this year, which is, I believe, on the 19th and 20th of October? But whatever your thoughts are, I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Also, something you can check out down below is nordvpn.com/BoredGamer or VPN, NordVPN, best VPN. Click on those links. NordVPN, it will give you better accessibility, privacy, and security on the interwebs. I use it. I love it. Also, we've got loads of other links down below. You can help support the channel. There's Game Glass, there's Tobii Eye Tracker if you want some natively supported precision eye and head tracking in Star Citizen. If you want any of those things, click the links below. Help support the channel. Thank you very much for watching. Every month we have a ship giveaway, and for June we are giving away a Freelancer Miss, which is a fantastic little multi-crew missile boat. We're also bundling this with a Pulse, the little tiny bike with the big laser on it. You'll get lifetime insurance on both of those and a Star Citizen game package. So all you need to play Star Citizen, all you need to do to be in for a chance of winning that is comment on any of my videos made during June. Good luck to you. Also, if you want to further support the channel, please consider clicking the join button under my videos. It really does help. There's also Patreon on loads of affiliate links and stuff like that down below in the video description and in the comments, so check those out, and that helps the channel out too. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great June. Thank you for watching to the end, and don't forget to click all the things down below, or at least the things you want to click on.